Hey there, Laura. Good afternoon. It's Jay here at Rorik. So I thought this might be kind of helpful in looking at, say, like the CX-5 versus the CX-30. Now, just to show you here, the biggest difference is obviously you'll see this white one is a CX-30, and the black one next to it is a CX-5. I've always just referred to the CX-30 as kind of a Honey, I Shrunk the CX-5 analogy, as truly all it is a baby CX-5. It's going to be smaller in a little bit of width, a little bit of length, and obviously a little bit of ride height as well, but not by much. And I will say they are very closely related in terms of features among trims and then even price points. Now, in terms of specials, as silly as it is, the CX-30s do have a few additional specials on them over the 5, mainly in terms of some of the finance-wise. But for instance, looking at the CX-5 here in front of me, this is the select trim level, and that is sort of what your online request had came through on. And I figured by going over this particular trim and sort of what comes standard on it would better be able to kind of help with some of your research and how that would compare to perhaps a CX-30 if you'd like to get a little bit of leg up on research of a CX-30 prior to Saturday. So starting with the select trim of the CX-5, there's going to be a lot of things standard on the CX-5. Now, both vehicles are going to be closely related in terms of these features. Now, one is every emblem is flat, and the reason being is that is sonar and radar that's kind of laying behind there and communicating with the camera up on the windshield. So the vehicle is going to have all of the safety items that Mazda offers. That's going to be everything from your collision avoidance systems with pedestrian and cyclist detection, lane keeping assist that can steer you back in if you're drifting, all of your adaptive cruise with a stop and go, meaning the vehicle can drive itself in stop and go traffic. You'll have your full LED lights that can use the high and low beams automatically, and even things such as obviously a backup camera standard, but cross alert is as well. So that's going to basically give an alarm if it's not safe to back up. And then my favorite system, which is your blind spot monitoring. So those are indicators that will light up in each side mirror, just letting you know if someone's alongside of you. And if you're part of the 2% of Pittsburgh that uses a turn signal, it will beep back at you. Same thing with liftgate wise. It's going to be a manual liftgate. You'll have your dual exhaust pipes down here, and all-wheel drive is going to be standard on every SUV. Layout for the interior will be similar, yet a little different at once. Now, unfortunately, this particular one is locked. So what I'm going to do is just run down to another CX-5 here just to kind of show you the interior layout before I run to a CX-30 here. So just kind of giving you a general view of the interior, these are what all CX-5s are going to look like. You're going to have an 11-inch screen up on top of the dash. It is not touch. Mazda doesn't believe in touchscreens simply because your eyes go where your fingers go. So they want you looking at the road. So very German style. You'll see that sort of dial behind the gear shifter. That is going to do all of the features and functions on the screen as you're driving. So it just takes a little bit of a learning curve getting used to, but you do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I find most customers are going to be using. And ironically, for the CX-5 only, it is a touchscreen in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Otherwise, it's going to all be on the dial. The CX-30 will not have the touch functionality in that system at all. Now, the CX-5 will come standard with leather seats, as will the CX-30. A little bit of a difference is the CX-5 will come standard with a power seat and heated seats. That is something that is not standard on the 30. You'd actually have to go a trim above that, but that's something that may pose a good value offer if the CX-30 fits your needs, and I'll get into that here in a moment. Now, in terms of stereo systems, you'll have very similar stereo systems in both vehicles. They're going to be provided by Pioneer and be 10 speakers, and you'll have quite a few amenities from rear AC units to the privacy glass that you'll see here, dual zone climate system so you and a passenger can set 2 different temperatures, and both vehicles will have standard remote start. So that's going to be an app that you would download on your smartphone, and it will allow you to remote start the vehicle, lock or unlock, among many others. Now, the price point on the CX-5 Select, as you may have saw, for instance, on the blue one, before any rebates or discounts, you're looking just nudging up against $31,000. Now, if we go to the CX-30 and we want to compare it to the Select, we would go to its Select Sport trim. And those are going to be flirting right around $28,000. So immediately you're at about a $3,000 less price point. Now, everything that I had mentioned on the CX-5 Select is going to carry over on this. The only two features that this is going to be void of, this does not have the power seat and it does not have heated seats. So you will see from an interior standpoint, very similar layout, a little bit different because this has a digital gauge, which is something that the CX-5 won't have. Obviously, very similar layout, that everything is clean and horizontal, and you have the dial-like system behind the control. You'll see kind of the speakers up there, and again, this is going to be leather, but you'll notice the cranks and stuff because it is not power. But here's where it could potentially become a value add, is the next trim level above this is called the preferred level. The preferred level will pull in the power seat, and it will add in the heated seats, but it will also add in memory seats so you can actually save your seating position, and it will add in a sunroof. Now, whether or not those features were important to you, where it starts to become a little bit competitive is even on the preferred level, those are nudging just right up against $30,000. So actually, if the CX-30 ends up suiting your needs better, you could acquire a sunroof, all of the features of the CX-5, and even memory seats as well, and still be about $1,000 less. I know it's a tough decision, and typically I find the easiest really comes down to what you feel better in, as some people like the CX-30, but it is a smaller compact crossover, so it is going to be kind of more like a tall hatchback than it is kind of a quote-unquote SUV. And that's why, obviously, they still exist, because they do feel different to many customers. If you do like that kind of high ride height and everything, you are going to find that in a CX-5, as where a CX-30 is going to be more of like a tall car, if you would. But I kind of hope this video helps go over some of those differences, and I certainly look forward to meeting you on Saturday and appreciate the opportunity, Laura. Have a great day.